Jan Blachowicz has released a statement on his first-round TKO loss to Navajo Sterling over the weekend. Jan posted this photo to his Instagram. He wrote, "It is what it is." Another one for the collection. Glover Teixeira left a comment saying, "You are a great warrior. Keep your head up, champ." Jan followed up with this photo. He wrote, "Every choice leaves a mark. I don't run from destiny." Experience comes at a price, sometimes a very high one. The UFC film crew showed up at Carlos Prates' house today.
Os caras aí, ó. Os caras vieram em peso, hein? Os caras vieram hoje com um exército. E o Fernandão vai ser amassado no...
Jiri Prochazka has addressed Paulo Costa talking trash to him on social media.
Hello, the UFC fans. This is just a quick message for Paulo Costa. Don't tag me, don't mention me in your post because you have a offer from UFC to fight me October or November. And if you don't want to fight me, don't mention me, don't speak about me. Yeah? This is it. Or I'm waiting for the contract for this fight.
Paulo responded to Jiri via X. He wrote, "Everyone wants to fight me because I'm the guy in this boring division. But the truth is, so far, nobody has mentioned your name to me. So go back to doing that weird thing of yours, whatever the hell it is you're doing, man." Although the fight is not officially booked yet, Merab Dvalishvili is preparing to rematch Petr Yan after recently losing the bantamweight title to him at UFC 323. Yan is currently recovering from lower back surgery.
This is pretty much how I'm gonna work against Petr, and feels like a real training camp for me. We talk a lot, we training smart, and this is what I need, because last time when I fought Petr, I was working hard. This time I work smart, that's what I need, and I think I'm gonna make different results, and I'm gonna take my belt back and continue a good life and stay busy.
Shavkat Rakhmonov has returned to sparring since having knee surgery and is targeting a return in 2027.
Хорош. Понятно, тұрмасы Кетлер. Адамдар өз бір-бірін мойындамай жүр екеуі. Аны баспен кірет аламын деді, пане. Аны!
Dana White keeps the UFC door wide open for Usman Nurmagomedov. That response only fuels the buzz that his move from PFL is getting legit momentum.
Is that someone you'd be interested in signing and bringing to the UFC?
Sure.
Cool.
Dana.
Yeah.
Here. Simone Tata for Fight for Yours. First of all, speaking of Uros and the performance he delivered, which was crazy in front of his own crowd, is that the way someone actually becomes or can become a superstar?
What's the question? Yeah.
The performance that he had, Uros, is that the way somebody becomes a superstar in the UFC?
Well, I mean, becoming a superstar. First of all, he has the most first-round KOs in the division's history. He's got the longest string of KOs in the division, third longest first-round KO string in the sport, I think. The highest knockdown rate, you know. He's got a ton of records with knocking people out in the first round. And if you keep coming in and you work your way up the rankings and, you know, fight for a world title, and there's a lot of things that it takes to become a superstar. He is definitely headed in the right.
Kenny Okoye says Usman Nurmagomedov is a must-watch talent. The excitement grows because everyone wants to see what he does against the UFC's elite competition.
Usman's just sloppy. Even in like his combos, he's kind of sloppy to me. The way he chains together wrestling attempts are kind of sloppy to me. It works though. He's talented. I love him. You know, he's he's gonna be on my glaze list when he comes to the UFC. I don't like him as much as Umar, because Umar's my fucking dog. You guys know Umar's one of my favorites, but Usman is one of those people I'm keeping an eye out on.
A few days ago, it was reported that Charles Oliveira vs. Arman Sarukyan 2 is set for UFC 331 on September 19th. The two previously fought at UFC 300, with Arman winning via split decision. Let us know your predictions for the rematch in the comments. Speaking of Arman, recently he was asked how his wife feels about the content he makes with Nina Drama.
Это осознанно делаете.
Да,
И при этом я правильно понимаю, что на площадке зачастую присутствует муж,
парень.
а вот парень ее. Как он на все это реагирует?
Но это же кино, мы снимаем кино. Многосерийное кино, которое я выполняю свою работу, но выполняю свою работу.
Да, но люди как будто в это верят. Ты же понимаешь, что вы продаете аудитории определенную эмоцию.
Люди верят во все. Они живут этим, смотря кино, и плачут. Хотя это просто не настоящее это все.
На площадке и читаете комментарии. То ли ты, то ли она зачитывает комментарии. Нина, с кем ты проведешь сегодняшнюю ночь? С Арманом или с мужем?
Не, кого ты выберешь, меня или...
Кого ты выберешь, всего
парня?
или мужа, да. И как будто, это прям жестко. То есть я не понимаю, как ее парень все это терпит.
Профессионал, значит, человек. Он это принимает, они этим зарабатывают деньги. И хорошие деньги зарабатывают.
В твоей семье реагируют на стримы?
Не положительно, не отрицательно. Моя семья не вовлечена в мою работу.
Ты сам выстроил такие границы?
Да. Что я делаю в медиа, исключительно бизнес. Я просто дал понять, что в мою работу никто должен не лезть. Разницы нету, что я делаю.
Demetrious Johnson says Usman Nurmagomedov holds all the cards now. With free agency on the table, a blockbuster UFC move suddenly looks more real than ever.
Archie, but right now that's like the one thing that I'm getting when I'm watching this is that there's like no or if you're going to be at striking range to the edge of the void, you got to be showing something. Otherwise, get the hell out of there because he's going to be able to find you a lot sooner than you will to find him. Right, and then Archie's doing all of.
Dan Hardy says Usman Nurmagomedov has massive opportunities ahead if the UFC makes the right offer. PFL may no longer be able to keep its biggest star.
Say, Usman Nurmagomedov, for example, he's getting paid very, very well here, right? And I don't know whether the UFC would respect him, appreciate him, both financially and on an exposure level, the way that he is over here. And that's only going to increase, it's going to increase tremendously with Netflix on side as well. So there's potential for higher purses for these fighters for a similar level of exposure that the UFC could potentially offer.
On the Deepwater show, Dustin Poirier and Jorge Masvidal said they believe Yaroslav Amosov is a nightmare matchup for Islam Makhachev. Amosov holds a 31 professional record and most recently submitted Joel Alvarez in the second round at UFC 328. The only loss of his career came against Jason Jackson by knockout at Bellator 301 in 2023.
I'm telling you this much, I love Carlos Prates. I think he's one of the most violent guys in the whole sport right now. But Urosov is a bad fight for him.
It's a tough matchup.
He's a bad fight for everybody. Even Makhachev, all the way down to number 10 guy, Urosov is that good. He's a bad fight for all these guys.
I think he's a nightmare for Islam.
Nightmare.
For Islam,
nightmare
right?
for Makhachev.
Yeah, I think so.
Bigger, longer, and I'm gonna say probably stronger as well in his wrestling, his sound. He's also, I think, a two-time world champion in Sambo, something like this.
Yeah.
So he's gonna be all right with the body locks, the foot sweeps, the in-close fighting that Makhachev does. Urosov will be able to outshine him probably.
And if the wrestling cancels itself out, I think Yaroslav's better on the feet.
Robert Whittaker recently moved up to the light heavyweight division and defeated Nikita Krylov by third-round TKO at UFC 329. On the Believe You Me podcast, Whittaker named Magomed Ankalaev as a future opponent and said he has no real interest in a rematch with Paulo Costa, who also recently moved up to light heavyweight. Rob fought Paulo back in 2024 and won by unanimous decision.
I'd love to get in there with like Ank. I'd love to get in there with, well, Jan just had lost, but I would have loved to have jumped in there with him. That Bogdan would have been great. Like anyone up. Like people keep throwing the name Costa out there, but I fought him before. There's a lot of other guys to fight as well. I won't fight the boys that I train with. If we reach a point where we're 1, 2, and 3 with me, Carlos, and Nav, then I'm sure we can all sit down and find a way to get paid bank. Yeah. But there's a lot of people to fight, and I've still got some work to do for myself in the rankings. I'm enjoying the progression. I'm enjoying coming up and going through the rankings again. It feels like a new chapter.
PFL can't hold this guy anymore. Islam Makhachev and Chael Sonnen believe Usman ready for the big leagues. Now fans are saying there's only one move left. Welcome to the UFC.
Usman is going to go to the UFC. Now, I make that prediction for one reason. Usman is outstanding. He is as good as advertised, and he is a little bit more well-rounded than his teammates. And I think maybe you even saw that in his victory over Archie over the weekend, where he did it standing up. He's got this great wrestler in Archie. Is he going to be able to out-wrestle him, keep him down, ground and pound him? Never found out. Usman was good enough to never have to take the fight into that realm.
Islam Makhachev says Usman Nurmagomedov is built for the UFC. He believes Usman already has championship-level skills, and the next stop is the biggest stage in MMA.
I know Usman can fight with anyone. Tapuria, Arman, or somebody else, you know. Because he training with us all life, and I know his skills. I know what he can do.
Yeah, it'd be pretty amazing to see him, you know, take that lightweight belt and just continue the lineage. He talked a little bit about it at the press conference, right? This was the father's plan.
Yeah, it's a dream for our team, you know. Because of Khabib, because of myself, we have like very, very tough guys in lightweight and welterweight, you know, because we always training together, give good rounds. That's why these two divisions grow in our gym so fast.
Every fighter wants to be the best. For me, it starts with what I put in my body. Before I was plant-based, I was strong. But now, I'm on another level. Because strength isn't just power. It's clarity, endurance, discipline. I recover faster, move smoother. This is what peak performance feels like. My body works better. My mind is locked in. I'm not just fighting opponents, I'm fighting limits. To be the best version of me and the best athlete out there. This is the future. And the future is powered by plants.
John Jones calls Usman Nurmagomedov a special athlete and says he is built for greatness. He respects the way Usman dominates opponents and believes his journey is only getting started. Praise from one of MMA's biggest legends adds even more hype to the conversation. If stars like John Jones already see championship potential, the UFC move starts looking less like speculation and more like the obvious next step.
He's definitely one of the greatest fighters of all time. He's one of the guys for sure.
Were you surprised that he dominated him?
No, I'm not surprised that he's dominating competition. He's a special athlete. I mean, some guys are just chosen to do great things, and I think he's one of those guys. I'm excited to watch the rest of his career. I think he has a lot of work to do, but he's on the right path, and he's just doing everything right. Yeah, he's one of the guys in the sports I respect very much.
Kamaru Usman points to Usman Nurmagomedov's undefeated record and compares his journey to Khabib Nurmagomedov's legendary path. That comparison carries serious weight because it highlights the discipline and winning mindset behind every performance. With Islam Makhachev also backing his future, many believe PFL is no longer the final destination. The UFC now looks like the stage where Usman can continue that dominant legacy.
Usman Nurmagomedov is obviously another guy who's undefeated. Khabib is one of those guys that did what he wanted to do in the sport and took his exit. And by the time he took his exit, he was unblemished, 29-0. Speaking of that guy, his cousin, Usman Nurmagomedov, is also undefeated, I believe.
Prates posted this to his Instagram. He wrote, "A lot of you guys, Sean Brady, Uros Medic, and the other welterweights have been mentioning my name. Calm down, brothers. In my next fight, I'm taking that belt. After that, I'll deal with all of you and take you straight to the kingdom of pain. Be ready. Nothing personal, just business." Sean Brady left a comment saying, "Just business." Conor McGregor announced that he went into surgery last night.
What's up, folks? It's the Mac. Off to get surgery today. So wish me well. I'm gonna fuel up with a Mac energy. Today, the orange creamsicle. Let's go, we got this.
Javier Mendez believes Usman Nurmagomedov eventually lands in the UFC once the right opportunity arrives. He sees the move as a natural step toward championship fights, not just another contract change.
Got into the UFC because his Bellator contract right now, they didn't negotiate properly, or the UFC came up with a better number, you know, and then he happens to get in hypothetically. And then, you know, by the time he gets in that position where he can fight for a title more than...
Michael Bisping says Usman Nurmagomedov welcomes every wrestling challenge because he trusts his takedown defense, scrambling, and complete skill set. That confidence is exactly why many believe he is ready for the UFC's elite.
He has the ability to stop the takedowns, which, by the way, he is very confident that he will, right? He thinks he can stop the takedowns. He thinks if he does get taken down, he will get back to his feet. He thinks he can even scramble on.
Luke Thomas says Usman Nurmagomedov performs at a level that very few lightweights can handle. His speed, control, and complete mastery make top opponents look ordinary.
Like that. Like that. Like it was fucking nothing. And they gave him 24 hours to prepare for the guy. Like nothing. Dude, what he can do, the mastery that he can lord over the division, even if I want to say the division hasn't had that proper turnover where the young guys coming up push out the old guys and all that stuff, even if I want to say that, the level of ability this guy has overall in terms of what he can do, the speed with which he can apply it, the phases and dimensions of the game over which he has mastery, where a top 10 guy in the world can't even make it out of the fucking round with him.
Ariel Helwani says Usman Nurmagomedov is one of the best lightweights on the planet.
I don't think anybody in PFL can fit that bill. I've also noticed guys at PFL are not calling out Usman Nurmagomedov. So if we don't have any push and pull and we don't have any argument at all, it would be very wise to offer Usman one deal.
I think it's now good time for Usman to jump to real jungle and give the chance for the other guys from our team. We have 3 more guys in PFL who fighting lightweights, and Usman did really good. He training very hard for this camp, for this fight, because he have like good opponent, but Usman have like good style, you know. He have good wrestling. He can defense wrestling, but his kicks, his punching so fast.
Yeah, really. And so it's all kind of open. We see, like, you know, Jake Paul and Nikisa, they want to keep him, of course, but do you think he'll end up in the UFC for his next fight?
Honestly, I don't see any opponents from him in PFL, or what they call like MVP now. But if they can keep him, they can. But I don't see any good matches for him right now. But in the UFC, I see like many good opponents for him, and he gonna grow so fast in UFC.
There's been guys in Bellator and Pride and Strikeforce and PFL who people think is the best, but it's hard to prove it because all the guys aren't there to fight.
No, like everyone have his opinion, but like if you like, of course, if like most of the people think if you are not in UFC, like even if you have like 25, 26 and all, you're like, it's not enough, like, you know. I don't know, now in UFC you have like some interesting situation too.
Yeah, these guys like well-rounded fighters, you know. They can kick, they can punch, they can wrestle, they can grapple, they have experience, 5-round fights. These guys do everything, you know. It's like, we call it new generation. They coming. Invasion, don't stop. Don't stop, don't stop.
Today, the UFC announced that Yair Rodriguez will face John Silva in the main event of Noche UFC on September 12th. Silva is coming off a unanimous decision win over Arnold Allen at UFC 324 this past January. Rodriguez, meanwhile, hasn't competed since earning a unanimous decision victory over Patricio Pitbull at UFC 314 last April. Who do you guys got winning this one? Drop your predictions in the comments. UFC flyweight Alan Nascimento has tragically passed away at the age of 34. He was found unresponsive after suffering an apparent heart attack in his sleep, and despite the efforts of emergency responders, he was pronounced dead at the scene. Nascimento's final UFC appearance came in June, when he dropped a split decision to Mitch Raposo at UFC Vegas 119. Dana White has been receiving a ton of backlash today. Yesterday, the UFC announced the passing of Nascimento. Also yesterday, UFC featherweight Danny Silva revealed that he was recently hospitalized after suffering a life-threatening pulmonary embolism caused by multiple blood clots. He said he initially thought he was just dealing with a training injury, but after his symptoms got worse, doctors discovered a large clot in his neck that traveled to his lung. Silva spent 3 nights in the hospital, is now on blood-thinning medication, and says he doesn't know when he'll be able to fight again. Silva is using GoFundMe for help covering medical costs. We'll have that linked at the top of the description. Following the news of Nascimento's passing, Dana posted a tribute to his Instagram story. Then 2 hours later, he followed up with a photo of him smoking a cigar. He wrote, "Great day," with a smiling emoji. Fans immediately took to social media to call Dana out over this. To read off the top replies, "Becomes more apparent each day that Dana is a narcissist." Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you never miss the latest MMA news. And I'll see you in the next video.